Greetings, I am Herbert Erpaderp, and today I'm going to build some zombies. The zombies in particular are the female zombies, or zombie vixens, it seems the instructions would like to call them, from this Project Z box set, which you would use for skirmish wargaming in a post-apocalyptic Earth, as the box tells us. I've had this sitting around for a long time, and I've done videos about the box set itself and assembling some of the miniatures in the past, the most recent of which was the male zombies. I'll link that video around here somewhere if you'd like to check that out. I understand that this game is available still, but I don't really follow it. I just wanted to make some cool zombies. And if I'm going to paint zombies, I might as well paint them all, you know? So the ladies need to be built as well. I'm not really going to do a step-by-step on all of these figures, they are pretty simple, and if you look at the instructions, you can see they've got specific arms and heads for each body. Also, they're colour-coded, so it's easy to pick out which ones you need. What I did was to cut out each zombie's parts, clean up the ones I wanted to use, and put them in a little container to keep them separated. Anyway, I'm kind of waffling, so let's glue some plastic together. Some of the zombies, like this one, only have 4 parts. A body, though this one is kind of missing the lower half, 2 arms, in this case a partial arm and a full arm, and a head. The way I put them together was in stages, kind of. I glued the arms onto this one, getting the positions I wanted, then to avoid the risk of bumping those arms out of place, I set it aside on some blue tack and placed the head near it so I would know which body it goes with. Made sense to me. Other zombies have more options. Sometimes it's only the choice of 2 left arms, like this one, but it's still a choice, and they're both good choices. You can see I've saved myself a few seconds by not cleaning up the arm with the hand. There's a big nubbin of sprue on the shoulder. I just thought the missing hand was a better choice, and when the arms are attached to the model, I think it works quite well. I think it's kind of funny because, in my mind, the zombie is waving hello to a friend or something. Probably not really the intention. Actually, looking at the video now, it kind of looks like maybe she's mid-dive. Anyway, once the head is on, that's one completed zombie. Here's another one where there weren't any choices. It is still cool though, and the positioning of the arms for this figure does make sense. The thing I'm a bit disappointed by, though only slightly, is that you can't really position the arms any way you like. Well, you can, but there's a very narrow range of positioning most of the arms can be in, and look good with minimal gaps. It's not really a problem though, you might just have to do a bit of putty work to get exactly what you want if it's not what the figures are designed to do. I think this zombie had the most options. There are 2 arms, which are holding additional hands and forearms, presumably torn from somebody else. Maybe this person was dancing with somebody when they became a zombie. Who knows? I chose to use only one of the severed hand arms, and maybe she's using that as a weapon. I like the hair on this one, though I also kind of have a problem with it, in that it looks like it should be resting on the shoulder, but it isn't, and I wasn't able to get it to do that. Maybe we can just say that the hair is full of gunk or something, and it's solidified against the shoulder, which has now moved. Yeah, why not? That's a good enough story. Here's another one where you get multiple choices. 2 arms doing the same thing, being the main choices in my mind. I don't think it made a lot of sense for there to be 2 briefcases. Not that zombie stuff has to make sense, of course. I like that this one seems to be swinging the briefcase like a weapon. I don't know what the other hand is doing. Maybe it's about to grab somebody's head and slam it into the incoming briefcase. Are zombies even capable of making that kind of move? Do they have the brains for that? I guess it depends on the kind of zombies. Here's another zombie with multiple choice arms, including 2 sets of shopping bags. That's what I assume these are anyway. And this time I thought, sure, it makes sense to be carrying this many shopping bags. It should make for some fun painting opportunities too. It's a chance to add some variation, and maybe something funny. It was a little bit tricky to figure out where the right arm should be, but I think it looks pretty decent the way I put it. You could, of course, fix any gaps left by positioning the arm in not quite the prescribed position, but I wanted to minimize any putty work I might have to do. Okay, so there are 12 zombies, and I've obviously not shown all 12 being glued together. Most of the zombies, while cool, aren't especially remarkable, at least in the way they go together. Let's have a quick look at them anyway. This first one is the only one wearing a long flowing dress, and I kind of wish there was more. It looks like it was once a very nice glamorous dress. Maybe this person died and was buried in it long before coming back. It's pretty haggard now, so it should be fun to paint. I think the neck looks a bit weird and kind of thick, but maybe there's some gore, or maybe some bloating that we can represent with painting there. Here's the severed hand wielding zombo, with the hair that's hovering above the shoulder. It's not really a big problem, but it does kind of bug me. Otherwise, I think this figure is pretty nice. I like the leg with the hole in it where you can see the bone. I think when painting time comes, there's going to be a lot of fun experimenting with gore. This one has a stick, or some sort of stabbing implement, and depending on how you attach her to the base, it could look as though she's leaping at somebody, ready to crack their skull open with whatever that thing is in her right hand, and eat some delicious juicy brains. Here we have half a zombie. I figure this one is meant to be dragging itself along the ground, but it also looks like it could kind of be swimming. You would have to use your imagination, but maybe that's why there's a kind of lifeguard zombie as well. I do like the half zombies, though unlike the male zombies, none of these have a tire track through their back, which I thought was a pretty good touch. They are still cool with no tire tracks though. This one isn't quite half a zombie, she is still missing a significant portion of her limbs though. She's still got one good arm and enough stumps to shuffle along the ground though, and I guess the important part is the mouth to bite with and devour those juicy brains. Here's Briefcase Lady, and she's one of the few that isn't scantily clad. She's a business lady, and I think she means business with that briefcase, and business is probably bashing in skulls to get to the juicy brains. I kind of like the high heels this one has, and a few of the others too. The heels are very fine and easily broken, which is kind of unfortunate, but it does also make sense. A zombie probably wouldn't look after their heels, or even care if they were broken or bent. This one is, well, there's nothing wrong with her, but nothing really stands out. She's just a zombie, and that's fine. Not all of them are going to be standout, super interesting and unique zombies, and they're all deserving of delicious brains all the same. This one is missing an arm, but seems to be in high spirits anyway. The face does seem to be laughing. Do zombies laugh? I don't know, but this one is. She looks to be a former cheerleader or something. Maybe she's just trying to keep up the spirits of Team Zombo. Here's the lifeguard zombie. I guess that's a suitable name. She does seem to be a lifeguard, and she really does look as though she's about to dive. Do zombies dive? Do they have recreational swimming? Are these the important questions? No. The pose is interesting though, and you could probably do something interesting with basing. This one is another kind of less interesting zombie. I do like the heels, and I do think it might be interesting to try and paint the dress all fancy-like. The arms are kind of positioned as though she's maybe shrugging, saying, I don't know. Or maybe she's found some brains and is saying, golly gosh. Zombies say that now. She does kind of look like a 50s housewife or something like that, so maybe she would say, golly gosh, brains. Here's Shopping Lady. She died with her shopping and refuses to let it go. I think this one is pretty cool. Like I said before, I think the shopping bags are going to be interesting to paint. Maybe I can paint a little in-joke on them or something, or at the very least there'll be some interesting colour to add. I really like the damaged leg though, you can see all the way through it. Cool. And finally, this one, who seems to have cut a foot loose. No.
You didn't even try to sing it properly.
I do like how this one looks as though she's kind of dragging her footless stump along as she shambles towards something on the ground. Maybe there's some juicy brains on the floor. Okay, so that's all the figures. Overall, I think they're pretty good. Very zombie, and they're definitely going to be fun and interesting to paint alongside their male counterparts, when I eventually get around to doing that. The plan is to do all of the skin at the same time, so that it's reasonably consistent, and that's the reason for holding off painting the males until these were done. I just think it's better to do it all in one batch.
Or maybe it's just laziness.
Anyway, these models are pretty cool. I'm not sure what scale they're in. They're very tall if they are meant to be 28mm scale. I'm not sure how much the scale really matters. They are intended for Project Z, and I don't think that they are meant to be compatible with, say, bolt action. For me personally, it doesn't matter. They're just going to be something fun and different to paint. Maybe one day I'll play with them. They're nice looking models, and I don't have any real complaints. The amount of optional parts was good, though it would have been better if there were more arm choices. Some of them don't have any choices, and it would have been cool if they did. But that is really a minor thing, and doesn't really take anything away from my enjoyment of the kit. There were 2 handbags included as optional parts, which I didn't use, but they could be put on later if I choose. I would have also liked to have seen a bit more variety in body types. These are all fairly similar, relatively slender and busty. The person who designed these seems to have a type. Nothing wrong with that, of course, I just like variety. I think I had the same comment about the male zombies, though there was at least one very fat zombie there. I wouldn't say those are real problems, and I enjoyed putting these together. There was a bit of cleanup required, nothing too horrible, though it was a little bit annoying with some of the smaller arms, and around things like fingers. Though, with zombies, I guess you can leave some of those things a bit rough, and it's not a bad model, it's a zombie with messed up flesh, because it doesn't care and will get damaged and not look after itself. Still, I did my best, and I put a good amount of effort into getting all of the arms on, with minimal gaps and mold lines. That did mean adhering to the way the instructions want these to be posed, though that's not really a bad thing. I think the poses are pretty good and they do make sense, and it's not like you're unable to pose them any way you like, you just have to do a bit more filling work, which I was trying to avoid. I will probably have to do a little bit, but not too much. So it was a fun build, and a pretty easy one, especially if you either cut the parts off the sprue as you need them, or otherwise keep them separated so you don't mix the parts for each zombie together. That way they go together with no issue. You may just face a little bit more trickiness if you choose to stray away from what the instructions want. I suppose that's normal, really, but don't let it stop you if that's what you want to do. All that's standing between you and some unique zombies exactly the way you want them is a little bit of extra work. Anyway, I think I've waffled enough. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the comment section below. If you haven't already done so, why not subscribe here on YouTube? It's easy and it's free. Or if you have the means, and you want to help Herbert Erpaderp do Herbert Erpaderp things, as well as see my videos a bit early before there's any ads, consider becoming a patron. You can find links to Patreon and all of my other things like Discord and social media in the description below. I'll be back soon. Until then, take care of yourselves, be excellent to each other, and thanks for watching. Brave.